Hey guys, Marsing here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to be doing the team building guide for the STR Super BUU EZA that is about to come out on the JP side of Dokkan Battle as part of the anniversary. So it's a typical 30-stage EZA. You cannot use physical or extreme units. Past literally stage 12, those units will all get an 80% damage reduction. So, once you beat the 30 stages, you obviously get all of the medals that you need to EZA STR Super BUU, some STR Orbs, 11 STR Kais, 30 stones, and then there are missions as well. So, as long as you're using a Potara character, which you are going to be, right, you can get 34 stones out of this EZA. So, as I say, the weakness category is Potara. So we're going to sit and have a look through this. Remember, we cannot really use physical or extreme units. You can for defense, but you have to remember that they basically won't do any damage. So I haven't picked any extreme units as top picks, but we can have a look when we quickly recap the category at the very end. So as always with my team building guides, I am going to go through my top picks and honorable mentions. If there's any units that I left out or you think I should have talked more about, let me know down below in the comment section. And if you do find this guide helpful at all, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, straight away, the obvious choice for the leader is the 3-year anniversary Goku and Vegeta that fuse into Vegito. With their EZA, they're a Potara lead for 180% to stats and 3 ki. Now, you are never going to fuse into Vegito, basically, because you have to get to turn 6, which is not very common with an Extreme Z battle. But they're obviously still good in their base form. I say base, they're Super Saiyans, but you guys know what I mean. Pre-transformation, they raise attack and defense on both of their super attacks for 1 turn. They have a built-in chance to dodge. They get extra ki with rainbow orbs. So they're pretty good on the team, pretty self-sufficient. You can use them as a defensive unit with the dodge. But obviously in the later stages, they're potentially going to take some damage, especially from a super, if it's not after they have attacked themselves. But they can still be very good, and they are the best leader, right? So even if you end up just floating them off rotation, they probably are the best choice for the leader. We also have the LR Tech Vegito from the 5th anniversary. Obviously, he's a little bit outdated in the current meta of today, but EZAs are, of course, not the hardest events in the game. So he leads Potara with a 150 leader skill. This guy only really sees a lot of use, or any use, nowadays, because of his ability to have 50% dodge in slot 3. So if you have to use him as a leader, you can obviously use a friend, Int Vegito, and then you could just float this guy off. He has that dodge chance in the last slot, still able to do pretty decent damage. You probably aren't going to... Well, actually, you might see him transform. It's turn 4. Him transforming into Vegito Blue, essentially that will be probably the last turn. So he himself can put out a bit of damage even on his first turn after transforming. So potentially going to finish the event off on that turn if you do see him transform. So he's probably the second best pick for the lead. If you already have the Int Vegito, this guy can be good on the team. I'd probably use him as a 3rd slot floater. But if he's not being a leader, I think he's more of an honourable mention than a top pick. And then the same goes for this physical Kefla. This is the only physical unit that I've brought onto this list because, as we saw at the beginning, she's going to get an 80% damage reduction. So she's basically not going to be able to do damage. But if you need a Potara leader, she has 160% for her leader skill. She does change orbs, which can be useful for the other units, and she has a built-in chance to dodge. So even though she can't do damage, her defense can still be decent. She raises it on super and has a built-in chance to additional. So she can be good on the team in terms of defense, and for her leader skill, she's just not really going to do any damage. So if I'm not using her as the leader, I'm not bringing her on the team, basically. So then we have the STR Vegito. Now, a lot of Vegitos are on Battle of Wits, so you could use them as a leader skill. And of course, well, all the Vegitos are on Majin Buu Saga, so you can use these guys as a lead as well. HP 130 and then 170 to attack and defense. These guys are still pretty good, especially for EZAs. Like, obviously, we know now in the current meta with, like, red zone bosses and stuff, they're becoming a bit outdated. But in an EZA, these guys will still be very good. They raise defense on both of their supers. They have a built-in chance to launch an additional, and they have damage reduction. They can transform on turn 3 if you're at 77% or less HP. And kind of like what we said with the Tech Vegito, if you get to turn 4 and then transform these guys, you probably just win that turn, right? Because once you transform into this Vegito, you get the Scouter effect. He has counters. So you probably just finish off the fight on turn 4 if you actually get to fuse into Super Vegito. So he potentially is a top pick for a leader. You just have to make sure all of the Potara units fit under this leader skill, which some of them don't. So if you have the Int Vegito, I would still probably run them as a leader for the extra 10% to the lead and the extra HP as well, actually extra 50% for the HP, and then just run this guy on the team. So definitely a top pick though for this particular Extreme Z battle. So next up we have STR LR Vegito Blue. He has his EZA now, so he has a super class 4 key and 120 leader skill, so he's probably the best free-to-play option to lead the team. But even if you don't need him as a leader, he's a very solid unit. I mean, he's type neutral, because obviously Super Buu is STR, but he gets a lot of defense from his supers. If you get his 18 key super, he has that built-in chance to then get an additional 12 key. Then, of course, you can get the hidden potential, so you can triple super. So he can be very, very good. I would probably run him on the team, even if I'm, using my pay to play like summonable leaders and stuff. So this guy can still definitely be very solid, and as I've already said, probably the best type advantage option. So next up we have AGL Super Vegito. Now this is one of the few events nowadays, I guess, where this guy will be super useful, because he's got type advantage. And even if you EZA'd the physical Super Vegito before you're now coming to do the Super Buu EZA, because he's physical, there's not really any point running him on the team, because his super attack and none of his counters will really do any damage, because physical units get that 80% nerf. So this guy will actually still be pretty good, right? He'll be hitting out counters. He's not the hardest hitting unit in the world anymore, but, he's on the Potara, he's got type advantage, so I think he potentially is actually a top pick for the team, funnily enough. And he does raise allies' attack with his super attack effect, so you can just put him in slot 1, and then everybody else on the turn is going to do more damage. So I probably will actually use him on my teams. He is the single one that has type advantage, so definitely very, very good. Next up we have the Tech Vegito. He of course is a support unit. He raises allies' attack and defense with his super attack effect, so if he attacks in slot 1, other units can go pretty hard after him. He has a built-in additional that has a high chance to become a super, which double procs this super attack effect. And then if you get his hidden potential, he can super again. And then on those kind of turns, like if you have an LR Vegito going next after him, they start dishing out tons of damage. So this guy definitely very worthwhile bringing. Or you can just use him as a floating support unit, because he does just give allies 30% attack and defense as well. So definitely a solid pick. Then we have the Tech Supreme Kai of Time. So very good Heroes unit. She massively raises her defense on Super, which is a 100% raise. She gives all allies a guaranteed 3 key and 40% to attack and defense. And then she also has a chance to give extra 12% defense and extra 12% attack. 2 separate procs, but they are 70%. She also recovers 12% HP at the end of the turn in which she receives an attack, which is always good for Extreme Z battles because you can't bring items to heal. So she is probably like a must-run support unit for the team. Even in the later stages, she will barely take damage, if any damage at all, other than double digits obviously, from normal attacks. She might take damage from a super in the last couple of stages, but she's probably like a must-run support unit if you have her. Next up is Tech Vegito Blue. Obviously he has his EZA, starts off with pretty decent defense, gets more when attacking, launches supers, infinitely stacks. Like he's not going to get a huge amount of turns to stack up, and he's probably not going to be a slot 1 unit, useful as a slot 1 unit I should say for this event, but he's going to be good slot 2 or 3, get the good RNG, get a couple of those super attacks off, and he will do quite a lot of damage. So not really much we need to say about him. He's very straightforward. You just put him on the team, he'll do damage. Hopefully he'll get a bunch of additionals and do more damage, but yeah, very solid pick for the team. Then we can't forget the last and mightiest Vegito, of course, Candy Vegito, with his EZA. He has a 70% chance to dodge. He's basically a nuking style unit, gets extra attack and defense per tech orb, or just defense per non-tech orb. He's just there for defense, basically, as a free-to-play option. If you have a very powerful team of summonable units, probably wouldn't bother bringing him on the team. But if you're free-to-play, or you don't have as many of the options, then he's going to be a good defensive unit for the team. So he can be a solid choice as a free-to-play pick. Then we have the STR Vegex, so the fusion of Vegeta and Trunks from Heroes. He is a unit that raises defense on super. He builds up crit chance with each super attack performed. Unfortunately, you can't get his built-in additional because you can't attack or defense lower or stun or seal enemies in an Extreme Z battle. So he's not like a super top pick, but as another unit that can be just good as a 6th slot pick, he's probably an honourable mention, right? He's got decent stats when performing a super. He can be pretty good, right? He's just unfortunately not going to get access to most of his passive. But if you are bringing other like Vegito units, this is another unit that has links like Super Saiyan, Fused Fighter, so Power Bestowed by God. Definitely can be a good 6th choice for the team. Then we have the STR Kefla. She is not a great unit anymore, a bit outdated. She does have built-in chance to dodge as long as you get 6 orbs. She'll transform on turn 3 into the Super Saiyan Kefla. You probably won't get to see the Super Saiyan 2 one. She again can dodge if you pick up 6 orbs. So she's not like a top tier pick, but definitely another option if you're running a team of other fused fighters like mostly Vegitos, just for those extra links more so than anything. And then Tech, Kale and Caulifla. I would probably only run them if I was running the STR Kefla, just for those extra links. I feel like if I had no other, you know, Universe 6 girl cards on the team, I probably wouldn't bother running these guys. They don't get their extra attacks. There's no Universe Survival Saga enemy. They are a build-up unit as well, so they're not suited best to short events. But if you need to fill out the team, running them, especially alongside the STR Kefla, is going to be another solid pick. So going back to Potara, as you can see, there's not a huge amount of options. The Int, Kai and Kibito actually can be pretty good. They have built-in dodge, so they can at least serve a bit of a function. I guess you could use units like LR Zamasu and Goku Black, and then like LR Fusion Zamasu. Whilst they're not going to be able to do damage because they're extreme units, they are units that are very, very good defensively, so they could potentially be somewhat useful. The AGL World Tournament Vegito, definitely not the best Vegito, and some people might not even have him, but at least he is another unit that actually has type advantage, so I guess you could potentially use him. You know, he's not the craziest, but EZAs also aren't, you know, the hardest. He does give superclass allies support, so, I mean, he could be pretty decent if you do actually have him. But yeah, Potara, not exactly full of top tier picks. Obviously, we got some good physical units here, but they're not going to be able to do any damage. So Gawasu and Zamasu could actually be relatively useful. They have built-in dodge, they defensively buff all the allies. They just obviously won't be able to do any damage. And then, of course, like I say, physical Super Vegito if you did his EZA first. I guess you could use him to just be a tank, right? Tank normal attacks. But his counters are basically going to do no damage. So, obviously not exactly a super top pick for the team. But let me know what you guys think down below. Potara definitely a little bit more limited, but if you've got some of the better units, this one definitely should not be that difficult. So, like I said at the start, if there's any units you think I missed out or that I should have talked more about, let me know down below in the comment section, and let me know what your team is going to look like for the STR Transforming BUU Extreme Z battle. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.